What a mess. We put off doing the bathroom, or at least the master bathroom, to the very end. This is really the last bit of demolition, is this master bathroom, and then the laundry room over on the other side. But I knew that this was going to be a mess because of the way they maintained the bathroom. I mean, shower hanging down. There is a soft spot here on the floor, which I figured there was going to be. But you can see underneath the tub, it looks like he had like a rat come up through the hole where the drainage was, which wasn't even sealed. So it formed like a little bit of a rat's nest here, and it was eating away at the styrofoam underneath of the tub. So I knew this was going to be a big deal. That's why we left it to last. But what I need to do is go get a couple more caps for the PVC, because they don't have any disconnects or anything for the water at each fixture. So I have to go get a couple of caps to fix it. And I woke up really early this morning. It was like 5 a.m. It's about 5:45 right now. So I'm going to run to Home Depot, but I figured if I got all this demolition done, Rachel could start loading up the tractor so we can get it out of here.
Hey guys, let's show you where we're at with the construction process.
So we're coming in through what would be the back door.
Yes.
And you can see we've demoed everything. We've gone down to the studs.
We have now, it used to be what, a 1, 2, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. It's now a no bedroom, no bathroom house. There is a toilet, but we've actually unplugged it.
So this would be like the laundry room area.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel's standing in what will be our closet.
But what used to be a mud area and a pantry and
well, if you back up one step, that was the closet, and then there was a wall.
That was all you had.
And then come out past the beam. That was the mudroom and part of the laundry room.
Yes. So now we're making it all a closet because closet.
And then this piece right here where this wider opening was, that was like a pantry or linen closet inside of the bathroom. That's just becoming part of our big closet. Yes. We're closing that off. So this was the master bathroom.
And there was a big tub here, like a Roman tub, but it was in such sad shape.
It was plastic. Worse than what you would find in an RV.
Then you had, right? It was totally worse than what we have in Alligator. Like, Alligator has a fantastic bathroom compared to what this bathroom was. Speaking of plastic, there was his and her sinks right here, both of them plastic. It was terrible. Like, the fixtures were all broken and cracked. It was
again, people talk about quality of items in an RV. The quality of what they had in here was 10 times worse than anything I've seen in an RV.
Same.
And because of that, the owners, when they would have a leak, their solution was
wrap a
rag around it. On their plastic tub that they had, they actually just put a fiberglass patch over it, but it's still cracked. And that caused a water leak, so we have to pull up this wood floor here and fix that.
Now we're moving into the master bedroom, and it's a good size. It was a good size before, but I didn't like how they laid things out. It was really hard to even enjoy that you have a window at all in this room. Everything was really dark. No lighting really worked. They just relied on a standing light that they would just plug into a wall outlet because this no longer works, and really none of the lights in the house worked. This is the family room, which is a nice size area for like a great room. And that's actually the front door of the house. It's just that the way that they turned the house is the back is towards the pond and the front is towards the road. So moving in here, this is where the kitchen was and the dining room. There was a wall that divided it here. We've eliminated that wall to make more of a great space and to be able to move the kitchen cabinets that ended here, hopefully all the way over to here.
And then this will probably just like be a little like nook area with the table, something like that.
So over here we have our youngest son, Caleb, is going to be moving with us to this area. So this is going to be his room. When we first got here, the closet came all the way to here, making it virtually impossible to bring in any decent sized furniture that's already put together. So in order for him to not feel so claustrophobic, we actually have already moved back the closet to this amount of space. He doesn't have a ton of clothes, and we can utilize armoires, different furniture for storage purposes if he needs it.
So one thing you'll notice is like this is what we're left with the demo is these little pieces where we have to still get down some sheetrock that's behind studs and remove the extra insulation.
So many staples, so many nails, literally just my hands are completely raw. Okay, so this is our guest room and it's looking really, really giant, Joe, because we actually took out the wall that goes into the guest bathroom. It's not always gonna be this way. We just needed to actually extend the wall a little bit for the shower and bath enclosure that we're putting in this space.
We're widening it by 6 inches. And they also here had a leak where he sort of patched it, but we're gonna change out all of the floor in there as well. We're also gonna move the toilet from there down to about where the sink was, and then move the sink over. But yeah, it'll be a little bit wider, only about 6 inches extending into this room. And then we also over there completely took out the closet.
I think that we're sending the message if you're staying in our guest room, like it's a guest room. Like we're not giving you enough room to stay.
Unless it's our grandbaby. She can stay as long as she wants.
Forever. The other person who got a closet removed from their care is Joe. This is actually Joe's office, and we eliminated the closet altogether. And here we understand that when you get rid of closets, you also get rid of some of the items that you could list if you were to resell this home. But even though we know that it's not going to be a real like 4-2 if you take out the closets, we're not interested in selling the place. We understand that this is it.
So yeah, you can also look, you probably saw it in the walkthrough video, but the owners were heavy smokers. And so everything is like this tingy yellow color from all of the nicotine and garbage. And so as soon as we're done with the demolition, we're going to be painting the ceiling with the shellac primer and then covering it with ceiling tiles. The only thing in this room is staying is this is the AC. And so what we're actually doing is we're going to close that back in, but we're going to make the return in here as well. So we're going to line all this with plenum. So that'll be an AC vent, another AC vent in here to suck the warm air out of my office because I do 3D printing and that generates a lot of heat. Originally, you can see on the other side of the scaffolding, the AC return was over there going into a kitchen cabinet. So we're going to move it from there to over there. So you can see we've done a lot since the last video. It doesn't seem like a lot, but this was the tedious part. I
Feels
mean,
it.
As we were going through with the demolition, I felt like it was never going to end. And I know you're probably thinking, well, demolition isn't that bad. And it's not that bad when it comes to like, listen, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to take a sledgehammer and pull stuff down.
I can do it.
But it's tedious. It is definitely the most strenuous. Putting in the new floor, that's where you need to take your time. Putting in new walls like sheetrock, like I'm not the greatest with tape and spackle. That's where you have to take your time, but it's not as strenuous, as hard of a job physically. So like, honestly, in my opinion, the hardest part is done. We just have these little touch-up things. I feel like by the end of today, we will have all of the demolition stuff done, and then we can move on to actually painting the ceiling and doing some of the other stuff. Some of the things, though, that I thought was interesting is I wish I would have thought about like having the, multi-tool where the sheetrock's behind studs. I didn't think about that until we were 70% into the demolition, where if I would have just taken the multi-tool, it would have made it so much easier to remove all the sheetrock.
Well, what is it like? The past is always 20/20 vision. When you're looking back, you can always see where there was room for improvement. But I think that for me, the hardest part of the demo is not just the hard work, but also with every wall that we took down, there was an anxiousness of like, is this working? What are we going to find behind here? Is this so much worse than we thought? So now I feel a lot of peace because even the problem areas, we know about them now. It's no more like a surprise. Oh, yep, there's some floors that need to be replaced because of water damage. But it's not like it was where I was just, you're white knuckling.
You didn't know what you were going to uncover.
You didn't know what.
Now we know.
You didn't know what you were going to face.
So I was thinking, we've showed you guys the inside of the house. I don't think we've ever showed you why we actually purchased this property.
Why do you want this place?
We said we bought it for the land, but we've never shown you the land. So let's go ahead and show you the land. So yeah, this is the front. This is our road. The only thing that I'm not a super big fan of is that our road comes to the back of the house, not the front of the house.
Right. We would like to have a driveway that comes to the front of the house,
We'll
not
build
the back. We've got to get there, because the other frustrating thing is not just because you're parking in the back. It seems smart because, like, let's say you go to the grocery store, you're going to come in the back of the house, and the first thing in the back of the house is that kitchen area. But it's the washer and dryer. And I also don't like a lot of people just coming in right to where your washer and dryer is.
You want to show your favorite feature of this property?
My favorite feature of this property is having a pond. I really did want to have a pond, and our pond is actually fed by 3 underground streams. When we got here on the property, there was just a ton of junk, old
chicken coops,
rabbit hutches. Everything just destroyed. A lot of garbage on this property. Before we moved in, 5 dumpsters of trash was taken off this property. We're talking yard trash. So that's just the beginning. That's the tip of the iceberg. So we're finding trash under every tree and leaf and branch. So we will continue to clean up the property, but we moved out all of that. We got rid of all of those broken down hutches and things. Everything here was completely covered with trees, so you actually couldn't see the pond very well from the house because everything was obscured. So we are in the process right now of taking down all those trees and the grasses around it. It also makes us feel a lot safer to know that when, not if, but when Tabitha wants to go for a swim, I can see
she's going in right now,
what she's swimming around.
Look, she will be in the water before we leave this section. She loves to just go and sit in the water. And so there are fish in here. What did they say? He's got bass in here, catfish.
We've got some bluegill. There is a big variety. Every time we come here, I see a different type of fish. So it's really nice to know that this is teeming with life there she goes in to check it out. Certainly some little turtles are in here as well. Is there an alligator? Most likely, yes. Why? Because we live in Florida, and pretty much every body of water pretty much has an alligator.
Now, with that being said, I don't think there's an alligator in here.
We haven't seen it yet.
It doesn't mean that there's not a possibility, but since we've been here for almost a month, we would have seen him. He would have come out on the bank. But we did find out one of our neighbors does have a pet alligator.
So the other thing that you'll see is right now we're in the wet season. We're still in where it's really hot. As it gets colder, that's another time when you will see the alligators come out and come on the bank to sun themselves.
Yeah, so most likely we don't have an alligator because, again, we would have seen him at this point. But we do know that there are snakes in here. We have seen some snakes.
Yep.
But it's just normal. It's a part of Florida life. But this is a very big pond, and as Rachel said, it is fed by 3 underground springs. You can see we've just been slowly trying to kill things off. We're eventually going to work on getting the grass that's out of the pond so that we can really, really enjoy it. But it's nice to come out here and just look at it and see everything.
And we'd like to be able to build a bridge from one side to the other so that we can get into the other part of our land, which currently we have to walk around in order to access.
So over here, the old owner had horses at one point. So he does have this little horse stall, which we're going to leave. He actually did leave a bunch of lumber. So he started using it as just storage area over here. And a lot of this stuff, he had so much junk because they were here for so long. So a lot of this kind of stuff we're going to take down. You can see, here's a better view from the other side. We've got a 40-foot storage container. We purchased that. That's a one-trip shipping container, 40 feet long. So that's where we're parking our RV. And I'll show you in a little while what we're doing for dumping. But then again, there's the house and everything. And this is all part of our property. So over here, I don't know, he must have been raising dogs or something. I'm in the middle of taking this part down, and we're just going to use this little overhang piece to store Rachel's mower.
I actually see that this is Kelsey's pig in 2012. So when we bought this property, there was a giant boar, a wild hog, one of those ones with the tusks and everything. And I believe that this is probably the piglet cage for this. And once it outgrew this, it was moved over into that pen.
So he had this little walkthrough. He also, you'll see, had double fences, which we're going to take down one because we don't need both, because this one is barbed wire and then over there is a regular. We're going to take down like this side so that we have access to this area, because again, it was just overgrown. So we've been slowly killing stuff off. We do need to mow the grass. So this over here is all ours. We'll show you that in a minute, but then we'll go this way and you can see the other side of the horse stall here that he had. So like 2 stalls, and this is where he actually had that pig or hog. It was a wild hog. We actually had to write into our contract the hog had to be gone because it weighed over 500 pounds. And you can see he just had garbage everywhere.
So here we are in what will one day be a place where we keep our sheep and our chickens. Really
and
looking
cow.
And a cow and a donkey, but we're looking forward to that. So as we're doing all of this hard work, we have to keep the big picture in mind. It's going to be the future that we're working towards. So I'm excited. Obviously, we've got to keep mowing this property. We do have an implement on the back of our tractor that can help with that, because if you were trying to push mow this, forget about it.
Yeah, this actually has not been mowed since we bought the house. They mowed it the day before, but then we had so much rain I haven't gotten to it. I have a finish mower for our tractor. I may end up having to rent a bush hog, but we'll see how it goes. But you can see all of this is part of the property. You can see like a little fence over there. Over here, that is just overgrown, but back there it looks like he was raising dogs. So there's a couple of old kennels built on decks. So like that whole corner, all of that will eventually come down so that we have more property. Now Tabitha weighs 120 pounds. You can see how tall the grass is right now. But we've been slowly just trying to kill some of this stuff to get to underneath here. And then over here, that's the fence line for our property. This piece next to us is owned by the person where that house is, and he's got a few cattle. I think he's got what, 3 cracker cattle?
Yes, he does, because that does help with taxes. If you have, you can get your green belt if you do have a certain amount of animals on the property. As you can see, there's more trees here. We want to get to killing all the underbrush so that you can really enjoy the larger trees, because yes, they are providing a lot of shade, but as you can see, there's so much like under foliage that you can't enjoy the sitting spaces underneath these trees yet.
And then we won't walk all the way out to the front, but the property goes all the way out there to the other side of those trees. Over here was another pile of garbage he had that we made it mandatory disappear before we actually purchased the property. And they were literally doing it the morning that we closed. And you can see it's a pretty big pond. I like the shape of the pond. You know, it's not just a little hole in the ground.
No, it's very welcoming, and it really calls to me for sitting and fishing, relaxing, having a good conversation with somebody by the pond. And we're really looking for this to be more of a retreat, not just for us, but for our friends and family as well.
Let's go to the other side of the property. So, as we said, he just put garbage everywhere. It wasn't even just in one spot. So you can see he had a pile over here of wood, fencing. Over here, he had pallets. There's still bags of concrete that went hard. So we've been slowly just moving stuff out. Now over here, that's our burn pile, because we are allowed to legally burn our brush. So what we do is, as we start taking down trees in different areas, we bring it out here and we just light it on fire midday, right about when it's getting ready to rain, which sounds weird, but at least that will help control any fires and stuff. We have a lot to do here, and we're trying to concentrate on inside, but we also want to make sure we get sunshine. And so we try to spend 2 or 3 hours outside every day doing some of the outside work as well. But you can see over here in the corner, had more garbage over here. There's another, like, remember over there I said that there was a dog kennel? Well, there's another one over there. So all of this will eventually have to come out. And again, when you knock all of this stuff down, which he's just let go, some of it I think to hide the garbage and some of it because he just couldn't maintain the property anymore. We're gonna end up with a lot more property, but just inside of here, there's chairs. In this back corner, when we first saw the property, there was an RV, an old beat up RV. And we told them that had to go. And it looks like what they did is they emptied it out and they just threw the stuff they didn't want into the woods. So you can see a better shot over there of more of the garbage stuff that he has in here in the property. And then what we've been doing is slowly, as we find stuff, we've been pulling it out of the woods and making a pile here. And by making this pile over here, at least we can get to it easily to put into a dumpster. And we may even hire a few guys to come over, put it into trailers. There's a lot of people in the area that, you know, on their off work days, because we do have a lot of like farmers and stuff like that here, and where they only work like 4 days a week. So to make some spare money, some different people will come over, pay them a couple $100. They'll come with their trailer. They'll take all of the junk and take it to the dumpster. So we're just trying to centralize it all, but you can see where he just left all of this garbage. They even left a water tote, which I'm actually grateful for that. If we could clean it out, it's a nice way to have some reclaimed water for things. And again, here's more of the property here. And then over here is our well. And again, they have fences everywhere, but they don't make sense. Like, I don't understand the purpose of this half fence area. So this will probably come down, but we'll just have to move, you know, get the barbed wire off. One thing that we do have a lot of is fire ants.
We have more fire ants than we do love bugs, and I didn't think that that was humanly possible. But yes, that is something that we have to continue being vigilant about. We're definitely going to treat the area because we want to make sure that everybody that comes to visit isn't getting eat up with fire ants. One problem with the water is we have a well, which is fine. We're happy with that. However, before we came, the water system didn't have any type of softener on it, no conditioning, so it just smelled like rotten eggs, and that was not going to work for me as far as like taking a shower or drinking water. So we've put in a brand new system, one that will take out the sulfur smell.
Now I will give a shout out to Blue Technologies, which is the water filter that we are using in our RV. We absolutely love it. It's a small, compact 3-stage system. They also have a softener available. And though it didn't completely eliminate the rotten egg smell, it definitely made it not as bad. Because when we tried to take a shower in the house before we demolished everything, you literally came out smelling like you bathed in like year-old rotten eggs. I mean, it was horrible. So it greatly reduced it, and that's because they do different things to treat that sulfur smell. So I knew it wouldn't completely eliminate it, but it definitely made the water much better. And I don't know what we would have done without having that Blue Technologies filter system. Over here is another garbage pile that we actually unveiled yesterday. So fortunately we have the tractor, and we just, as we find piles, we go, what is underneath that pile?
It's really important for us to try to kill the weeds before we mow into a new area, because if you don't know what's underneath the area, you just think that it's tall grass, you take a mower in there and you're going to wreck your mower.
So until we build some kind of a pole barn, this is where we're storing all of our different implements. We have our backhoe for our tractor here. Then over there we have our grapple, we have our finishing mower, our forklifts, and then over here we have our box blade. Speaking of houses,
yes,
if you want to show them the newest way we found to almost guarantee a divorce, like the new way to test your marriage.
Yes, if you are looking to test your marriage because you're just thinking your marriage is going too smooth, I recommend one of these, which is a Cover Pro portable carport, because the instruction on this was absolutely nightmarish. Not great. And so there was a lot of crying involved in putting this together.
This is the front of the house technically, but we're gonna call it our backyard. because this is like the serene area, aside from the pond.
It's definitely more relaxing, more serene out here. We sort of know when we're mowing where the garbage area is at this point and where are the safe areas to mow. So mowing this area is a relaxing experience, and walking through this area with all of the flowers and fruit trees that are on this property it's really nice. There's berries here, there's grapes here, we've got limes here, just a nice variety of plants. I will say that whoever lived here before certainly had a green thumb, and we are enjoying the benefits of that.
Now, he has this little building here, which was like, I guess, their grandbaby's little play area. And we actually told him we wanted them to leave it. We're gonna take this fence down. Inside, they're storing more wood, things like that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our pallet forks to lift this up. We're gonna move it to a different area. We're gonna put a big thing of chicken wire around, and we're gonna turn this into a chicken house, at least for now. And we're used to having our chickens pretty much free range. They can do whatever they want. They put themselves to sleep. They like sometimes sleep on top of their chicken coop, but this area does have a lot of predators. You know, coming from Fort Lauderdale, we had hawks, but they never really seemed to bother our chickens. The only thing that we really ever had a problem with was possums. They did kill a couple of our chickens, but here we have hawks, we have eagles, we have panthers, coyotes,
Cougars.
bobcats, cougars. So we are, at least at the beginning, going to have to really protect our chickens. You know, again, part of buying this farm is to be able to raise our own livestock. But we also want to care for them. We don't want them to be stressed out. We believe that, you know, raise livestock for food, and they should have one bad day. I mean, we want to have sheep, and what's nice about sheep is they've got all the grass in the world, and they can go out there and live their best life, and then they'll have their one bad day when it comes time for us to process it for our food. So what we're going to do is put this in an area, give them a giant run, maybe eventually let them out, because they'll learn, you know, they will go back in there at night, and we'll entice them in there with some lights. We don't encourage people to use lights to get egg production, but chickens are attracted to light. And so if you give them light, they will go to that light, and at least they'll learn to go into their chicken coop. We're just going to relocate it, because in this area, the plan is to do a big swimming pool. We don't want to do a below ground pool, because again, flood zone area. So we're going to do an above ground pool, but bury it halfway. And then we're going to do a lot of the decks coming off of the front of the house, coming over to the pool, because this is just the area where you can sit out on your porch and watch the grandchildren and just enjoy this amazing place that God has provided us with.
For now, the view is the dumpster. That's what we get to look at right now. But when we walk out here and I kind of smell the freshly cut grass and I see all of the flowers that are already here, I'm thinking about what's next. Like, what's the future of this property? And if there are things about this property that made us want to buy it, I know that in a couple years, it can really be a place that lots of people can enjoy.
So the demolition is pretty much done. It has been a nightmare. I mean, taking the sheetrock down wasn't that big of a deal until we realized there are thousands upon thousands of staples. And when you pull down the sheetrock, the staples just stayed in the wood. So we've spent about a week pulling staples out, both by hand and then also with the tool. And I'm gonna say that these multi-tools are probably the greatest thing ever invented. I mean, I have been doing demolition and remodeling since I was about 8 years old. My dad and I did all kinds of stuff in our house. We didn't have stuff like this. This has made things so much easier, and I would absolutely say if you are gonna work on a mobile home, if you're gonna do any kind of demolition, replacing flooring, replacing sheetrock, anything like that, you need one of these. Now, I'm a Milwaukee fanboy. Everything I own is Milwaukee. As a matter of fact, I just ordered the Milwaukee PEX tool because we're gonna replace all of the plumbing in here with PEX. And I'm gonna use PEX A, which means you need a special tool. And when we get to the plumbing, I'll talk about why I'm using PEX A, but this tool has been amazing. We've gone through a bunch of blades. Originally, I was using the very best Milwaukee blades, but even those, they were like going dull pretty quick because there were so many staples. So I ended up going to Harbor Freight and getting the Hercules ones. I don't think I have any more up here right now, but the rounded one really helped because as you go up the wall to get the glue off, if there's staples, it just gets everything all the way around. It also really helped with removing the flooring because there were a lot of areas where they had the old-fashioned just vinyl flooring, the roll-on stuff, but it was underneath the wall studs. So you needed to use the multi-tool to cut around that. So this has been like invaluable. And again, I love Milwaukee, but any one of the tools will work really well so long as you have one of these. The other thing I wanted to just mention, which my son actually told me about this, there's a lot of different things in this house in particular that had nuts on it. And usually, you have the individual little nut drivers, the red one, the yellow one, the blue one for the different sizes, like blue being like 3/8. And what happens is you never know which one you need. So this one is from Klein Tools. And what's really cool is you have every one of them on one stick. So for example, up on the top, we have 1/4 and then 5/16. You just pull off the one and you switch it over. And then let's say, for example, we need the 3/4 inch one. You just pull it off the bottom, pull off the top, and then it switches on and it goes all the way around. So you have all of these different sizes. So I got this on Amazon. Home Depot sells them, but they only had them where we are anyway, for an online only purchase. So I'll leave a link for the Amazon down below. But pretty much we're done with the demolition. We just need to go through and clean up. Rachel is going around with the shop vac and sucking insulation out of corners, all the dirt. And in the meantime, we're gonna start prepping the ceiling. So our goal here with the ceiling, because of the smoke smell, which is pretty much gone at this point, what we're gonna do is we're going to prime the entire ceiling with a shellac-based primer, because that is going to be the best for blocking out odors and stains and things like that. After that, one of the last things we're going to do after we do all the sheetrock, we're going to put a foam ceiling tile up. They're just glue up ceiling tiles, and that'll give us a fresh look. And we felt that was going to be much easier than pulling down all of the sheetrock, dealing with the insulation up there, trying to put up sheetrock, because these are huge pieces of sheetrock, and that's going to be a pain in the neck. So to get the fresh look, we're just going to use the foam ceiling tiles. It is a little expensive, starting somewhere around $1.15, and depending on which ones you go with, they could be as much as $3 a square foot. But we're going to just use the foam ones. You get them from Home Depot. They have really, really good ratings. They're like 1.6 by 1.6 feet. And you just use like regular construction adhesive and glue them up. So we'll show you that in a separate video. So before we end the video, I did want to show you which shellac primer we're using. It's this stuff right here. We bought it on Home Depot. None of the stores by us, whether here or down in Fort Lauderdale, keep it in stock. So we had to order it online. It was about $250 for a 5-gallon bucket. So I think we're gonna end this video right here because I'm sure it's really long. We've already shown you what it looked like when we first got the house, and then we did some of the demolition. We've shown you some of the problems that we have encountered. And then in the next video, we will have already had the entire ceiling, like at least primed, moving on to the very next project.
Can we just in live time be able to fast forward into that video? I'd like to be already living in that video right now.
So in the next video, what we're gonna do is begin the plumbing work, because the order that we're gonna kind of work on is get the ceiling primed, then we're going to work on the floor. Most of the floor is pretty good, but we're gonna prime the floor, and then there's a couple of areas in the bathrooms where we need to replace the subfloor. But before we put down the new floor, which is gonna go over the existing subfloor, we wanna run all the packs, because since we already have to replace things, we feel like it's gonna be easier to do it from inside instead of going underneath.
And easier is better.
So we really, really do appreciate you guys for tuning into our channel. Now make sure you join along with us as we renovate this house. I know it's gonna be a lot of videos, but I feel like in the end, we're gonna really appreciate this house.
I definitely think so, and I hope that we can help to inspire somebody else who may be interested in pursuing that farm life. And it really begins with building the barn that the humans live in before we get to bringing animals on the property.
Now, please do us a favor. If you're getting anything out of this content, make sure you hit the like button on this video. That does two things. Number one, it really does help us build our channel, but more importantly, it lets us know what kind of videos you guys are looking to see.
And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Until next time,
Bye.
bye.